I think I was given the hard part of our hearing tonight. Walang gustong humawak po nito eh. So, pagtiyagaan nyo na po ako. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Mula po sa opening ng pangalawang yugto o season 2, kumbaga, ng ating mga pagtatalakay dito sa Quadcom, ay narinig po natin ang mga statements given to us by our resource persons, Mr. Taguba, Mr. Guban, and Mr. Asierto. Atin din pong nasilip ang affidavit ni Mr. Las Cañas na ngayon ay witness na sa International Criminal Court. Kaya naman po, siya ay naka-embargo at hindi humarap dito sa atin sa Quadcom. Each of these individuals all carried with them intimate knowledge of the inner workings of the drug trade in the Philippines. At ano po ang similarity nila? Lahat po sila ay nagsalita at nagsiwalat ng ibang version ng war on drugs at nagdawit ng mga pangalan. At dahil dito, lahat sila ay nagdusa and they earned the ire of then former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. In the Philippines, nagsimula ang drug menace sa pag-usbong ng mga laboratory, gawaan ng droga o ang mga tinatawag na clandestine laboratories. Eventually po, narinig natin na ito ay napalitan ng business model ng pag-angkat or importation ng droga sa bansa. Malakas ang business of drug importation sa Pilipinas. Ang isa sa mga kadahilanan nito ay ang mga importer ng illegal drugs were able to skillfully exploit cracks sa ating sistema para makapasok ang droga sa ating bansa. Ang tanong, bakit parang kabisado ng mga importers na ito ang mga vulnerabilities sa ating port security? Simple lang pala ang sagot. Dahil may protection, dahil may connection. For now, I will let these headlines shown here speak for itself. Narinig po natin ng paulit-ulit at nakondisyon na rin po ang ating mga utak. Nagalit si former President Duterte sa droga. Sabi nga po niya sa ating law enforcement, pag may sangkot sa droga, kill, kill, kill. Ngunit the link between former President Duterte and drugs begins with the testimony of two resource persons before this committee, Mr. Mark Taguba and Mr. Jimmy Guban. Ito po ang tale of two shipments, istorya ng dalawang shipment. Dalawang shipments kung saan sumabit si Mr. Taguba at Mr. Guban ay nangyari noong taong 2017 to 2018. Yan din po ang taon ng height of the war on drugs ni former President Duterte. Kapansin-pansin na kahit magkaibang shipment at ibang transaksyon ang pinag-uusapan, ang detalye ng dalawang kwentong ito ay pareho. Pareho pong bilyon-bilyon ang halaga ng syabong ipinasok, 6.4 billion in 2017 at 3.4 billion in 2018 na pareho pong nakatago sa mga gamit industrial. Metal cylinders in 2017 and magnetic lifters in 2018. Parehong pumasok sa Manila International Container Port at parehong dawit ang mga pangalan ni Honorable Paulo Duterte, Attorney Mans Carpio, and Michael Yang, anak, son-in-law, economic advisor at malapit na kaibigan ni former President Duterte. Nag-testify rin si Mr. Taguba na si Pulong o si Mans ang nagbibigay ng go signal para sa mga special containers. In short, these shipments do not go out without the go-ahead of Pulong or Mans, di umano. They allegedly control these shipments. Ito po ang mundo na napasukan ni Mr. Taguba, gaya ng sinabi niya sa atin, dahil gusto lang niyang magnegosyo. Kung gusto mo madali, lumapit ka sa Davao Boys. Yun po ang turo sa kanya. Yan po ang ginawa ni Mr. Taguba, lumapit siya sa powers that be. Makikita po natin dito na baka meron ngang kailangang ayusin o baguhin sa ating mga batas dahil mukhang ang mga maliliit lamang na tao ang napapatawan ng sentensya. Ayon naman kay Mr. Guban, ang may-ari ng shipment sa kanyang kwento o ang shipment noong 2018 ay sina Mans Carpio, Pulong Duterte at Michael Yang. Naulit na naman ang mga pangalan na nabanggit ni Mr. Taguba. Ayon kay Mr. Guban, hindi niya pinangalanan ang tatlong ito sa pagdinig dati sa Senado dahil sa banta sa kanyang buhay at sa kanyang pamilya. Sino ba naman ang hindi matatakot? At dahil iba ang pinangalanan niya sa Senado, siya ay sinabit sa kaso at ngayon ay nananatiling nasa kulungan. Paano po ito nakakalusot? It's a crack in our system, a crack in the Bureau of Customs, ang TARA system. Simple lang po yung TARA system. It's grease money, lagay, given to the officials of the Bureau of Customs, among others, to push them into a more simple assessment of inbound goods. Halimbawa, aabutan ng 1 million pesos para hindi na ma-x-ray or buksan ng container na papasok. According to the tale of 2 shipments na nabuo sa testimonya ni na Mr. Taguba and Mr. Guban, ito po ang estilo ng mga illegal drug importers. Magbabayad ng pera sa mga opisyal ng BOC para mabilis na makalusot ang kanilang mga shipments. Oo nga naman, di ba? Paano madidetect ang isang shipment of suspected dangerous drugs kung simple assessment lang, walang x-ray or kahit anong form of physical examination? Ang mga nasangkot na pangalan sa ating tale of 2 shipments ay dapat palang matagal nang iniimbestigahan. These were all laid bare some time ago by Eduardo Asierto, an intelligence officer, a person in hiding for 6 years now just because of his intelligence report. Nagkamali siyang pangalanan si Michael Yang. Oo, pinapapatay siya ni former President Duterte dahil sa kanyang report at dahil ginawa niya ang kanyang trabaho. At sino naman itong si Colonel Eduardo Asierto? Si Colonel Eduardo Asierto ay isang narcotics operative na nag-verify at nag-imbestiga ng mga illegal schemes na nangyayari po sa Bureau of Customs. More than the reports covering the Bureau of Customs, Colonel Eduardo Asierto prepared thorough reports which he shared with the Quad Committee on the involvement of Michael Yang, Johnson Chua, and Alan Lim in the illegal drug trade in the Philippines. Ayan po ang diagram ni Colonel Asierto kung saan makikita na si Michael Yang kasama ang kanyang mga business partners, Mr. Alan Lim and Mr. Johnson Ko, ay tatlo sa critical na bahagi ng operasyon ng droga sa ating bansa. Ayon sa diagram, si Mr. Alan Lim ang local source. Si Mr. Yang ang taga-ayos ng importation side at si Mr. Ko ang distributor. Ipinapakita rin ang slide na ito kung gaano kakomplikado at organisado ang network. Ito po ay end-to-end, kumpleto, from supply to distribution na may kasamang na ring money laundering operations. Itong mga personalidad na ito ay pamilyar sa atin. Ilang beses na rin lumitaw ang pangalan nila sa Quadcom. Si Alan Lim ay kilalang asawa ni Rose Nono Lim. Si Michael Yang, economic advisor of former President Duterte. And itong si Johnson Ko naman is the person known to have financed and established the infamous Dumoy Laboratory. The incident concerning the Dumoy Laboratory is where Michael Yang, as it would appear, started to build his bones in the drug trade. Matatandaan natin na ang kwento sa Dumoy Laboratory ay nagsimula mula sa 2 container vans na dumating sa Davao, which Michael Yang and a certain Panther received. Thereafter, pumunta sila sa isang warehouse na nireren ni Alan C. At this time, Michael Yang's involvement in dangerous drugs was just very small. His only task was to transport precursor materials necessary to create shabu. Ang role niya po niya noong circa 2004 ay ang i-transport ang precursors mula sa port to the laboratory. Ito ang napag-usapan natin sa Dumoy raid. 6 na Chinese nationals ang namatay. Base sa raid, na-discover nila na si Alan C. at si Johnson Chua ay ang mga may-ari ng warehouses at laboratories na ni-raid. Mula po sa investigasyon natin dito sa Quadcom, nalaman po natin na hindi ma-account kung ano po ang nangyari sa mahigit 10 pang na-aresto ng mga Chinese sa raid na yon. Mahalaga po itong Dumoy raid na ito dahil ayon mismo kay former President Duterte in a recent interview, inubos daw niya ang mga sangkot dito. Later on in 2005, affiliates of Alan C. were arrested and warehouses rented by Johnson Chua were discovered in the provinces of Bukidnon and Cagayan de Oro. It seems that Johnson Chua did not learn its lesson from the tragic Dumoy incident because after 9 years or in 2013, may mga lumabas muli na report tungkol sa illegal activity ni Mr. Johnson Chua. And it was at this time when the close relationship of Michael Yang to then Mayor Rodrigo Duterte became public knowledge. From receiving shipments of precursors from the ports and transporting them, malayo na ang narating ni Michael Yang. He eventually managed to develop contacts in the Bureau of Customs and evolved into a facilitator of shipments of shabu. As mentioned, maagang nakita ni Colonel Asierto ang operation ng Michael Yang and Alan Lim. In fact, nireport niya ang mga findings na ito sa ilang matataas na opisyal ng gobyerno, including the then PNP chief and even to Malacanang. Ang malungkot po dito, walang nangyari sa mga reports na ito, na baon sa limot hanggang naungkat muli dito sa Quad Committee. Bakit kaya ganon? At parang hindi nilang pinansin ang isang report tungkol sa isang malaking drug lord. At this juncture, we wish to emphasize na itong si Michael Yang ay malalim ang pagkakatali sa Davao City. Isa sa kanyang kumpanya, DCLA Company Incorporated, operates the DCLA Plaza Shopping Mall na nireport din na may activities and transactions concerning illegal drugs. Huwag po natin kalimutan na sa pag-aaral ng Quadcom, DCLA also owns Paili Holdings Corporation, the holding company of Paili State, which constructed Clark Majestic World, where 2 Chinese nationals were arrested for kidnapping a Chinese and a Vietnamese national. Yan pong mga usapin na yan ay nakakabit naman sa Pogo. Si Asierto ang unang nagbanggit ng koneksyon ni Michael Yang. Pero imbis na umaksyon o mag-imbestiga pa na mas malalim, former President Duterte resorted to threatening the life of Colonel Asierto. Akala ko ba war on drugs tayo? Anong nangyari? The reports relayed to us by Colonel Asierto only support the participation of several high-ranking officials, including Senator Bato de la Rosa, Director General Aaron Aquino, Senator Bongo, Director General Wilkins Villanueva, and of course Alan Lim, Michael Yang, Li Wenxiong, Johnson Chua, and Yan Yishu. Umabot po sa matataas na opisyal na ito ang report ni Colonel Asierto. Inuulit ko po, walang nangyari. Nariyan din po si Arturo Las Cañas, a self-confessed former original member and hitman of the Davao Death Squad and a retired police intelligence operative and an investigator. Unang lumutang ang pangalan niya sa mga investigasyon noon sa Senado noong taong 2017. Una, sabi niya walang Davao Death Squad. Ngunit binago niya ang kanyang mga binitawang statements sa Senado at agarang itinuro si former President Duterte. Sa kanyang 186-page affidavit na nakita rin ng Quad Committee, na kwento ni Las Cañas ang tungkol kay Mr. Duterte at mga taong lagi niyang kasama, whether it be about drugs or about kill orders. Nagtatandem po ang usapin ng droga at ang extrajudicial killings or EJK. Incidentally, in his affidavit, Las Cañas recounts the infamous Dumoy Laboratory. Ibang tao ang nagsabi, ngunit pareho ang kwento nila. The most compelling point of the narration was the fact that Las Cañas and company supposedly received 500,000 pesos from former President Duterte himself after 11 Chinese nationals who were Shabu laboratory chemists and workers were killed. Maaalala po natin na inamin din ni former President Duterte na inubos niya daw ang mga ito. Bakit kaya pinapatay ni former President Duterte ang laboratory chemist and workers na isang Shabu laboratory? Is this not a story that just seems all too familiar? As early as 2004, former President Duterte had already been issuing kill orders to those involved in the drug trade. All for the purpose of what? Eliminating these people in the name of drugs or in the name of competition? Whatever the reason, patay pa rin po sila. Just like Colonel Asierto, Las Cañas also makes the connection between Michael Yang and the Dumoy Laboratory. Las Cañas goes beyond the events that transpired during the raid of the Dumoy Laboratory at pinapakita pa niya na si Michael Yang ang naging employer ng mga Chinese nationals working as chemists and workers in the laboratory. Las Cañas also mentions a certain Alan C., who was one of the Chinese nationals apprehended and later killed. Does this not sound familiar? This is just like the tale of two shipments, two separate yet parallel incidents tied together by the same personalities involved. Maaalala din natin na nabanggit ng isa pang resource person ang pangalan ni Michael Yang. Looks familiar. This web of connections among Michael Yang and his associates was presented by PDEA in one of our Quadcom meetings. Dito ay makikita natin ang connections ni Michael Yang with Alan Lin, Rose Nono Lin, Johnson Ko, Hong Jiang Yang, Eddie T. Yang, Willie Ong, all of whom have been the subject of our investigations before the Squad Committee, connected by corporations like Piley Holdings Corporation, Piley Estate Group Corporation, Golden Sun 999 Realty and Development Corporation, and more importantly, Empire 999 Realty Incorporated. Empire 999 Realty Corporation was discovered bago pa man lang binuo ang Quadcom. A corporation owning a warehouse in Mexico, Pampanga, where 560 kilos of shabu with an estimated cost of 3.6 billion pesos was discovered. The shabu entered the country through the port of Subic and was later on delivered to a warehouse owned by Empire 999. Madami at paulit-ulit na ang lumilitaw na koneksyon ni Michael Yang sa business ng droga. Pero nakapagtataka rin, sa gitna ng isang state policy called the War on Drugs, where thousands were killed, kahit sabi-sabi lang ang basis, wala pa rin nakakagalaw against Michael Yang. In contrast, naging maunlad at successful pa ang lahat ng kanyang businesses. We can all recall the Farmally scandal that made headlines nationwide. We find ourselves with Michael Yang yet again at the center of this Farmally scandal. Again, I will let these headlines speak for themselves. Key Farmally officials such as Wang Chuyen and Lincoln Ong were also quick to point fingers to Michael Yang as the financier and guarantor of the Farmally operations. The personalities we have discussed warned us very early on ang mga nasa posisyon noong 2016 hanggang 2022 ay sila mismo na nagdala at nagpalaganap ng problema ng droga sa Pilipinas. Pero ang mga warning na ito ay hindi natin narinig. They were drowned out with noise and systematically silenced and discredited. Colonel Asierto, for instance, categorically named former President Duterte, Bongo, and Bato de la Rosa as integral personalities in protecting the illegal drugs network in the Philippines. Worse, they serve as key figures in ensuring that large volumes of illegal drugs slip right through our borders. Asan ngayon si Colonel Asierto? Nagtatago dahil gusto siyang patayin ng ating former president. Incidentally, these are the people whose hands are on the purse and the sword of the Republic, and they have deftly used it. It is most unfortunate, however, that the sword was used to slit, stab, and slash the very people it swore to protect. We, the people. And the purse was used not to benefit the Republic, but to line the pockets of the few. Nilunod po nila ang bayan natin ng droga at kumita sila dahil dito. Isa sa mga right-hand man ni former President Duterte, sang-ayon kay Colonel Asierto, he branded former President Duterte as the Lord of all drug lords. Napakasakit po dahil Pidigong won on the platform of a hardline stance against illegal drugs and criminality. Siya pala ang mukha ng illegal drugs at kriminalidad. Colonel Asierto, Mr. Jimmy Guban, Mr. Las Cañas, and Mr. Taguba have all bared their stories before the Squadcom, and it is through our combined efforts, through their stories, and our interpellations where we discovered common personalities that seem to just be consistently present in all the narratives. But what do we make of the war on drugs? Konting silip para sa ating mga kababayan. Mukhang ang war on drugs was a convenient way to eliminate competition in the drug trade. More specifically, the local manufacturers. Let us remember, ang key feature ng war on drugs ay ang reward system. Every kill is compensated. And the bigger the catch, the higher the video. Colonel Espinido even adds that awards could go as high as 100,000, and that the system at that time was known to all policemen. It was such a strong but perverse incentive to play along with the war on drugs. The existence of the reward system is not denied. In fact, ipinagmayabang pa ito ni former President Duterte at ang kanyang mga alipores. This reward system has long since existed in Davao and was transposed in the national scale noong taong 2016. Evidently, this reward system caused the systematic killing of operators of drug laboratories and chemists and those distributors who source their product from these local manufacturers. Ano po ang benefit? Open season na po for drug importers. Ang masama, isa itong naging ugat ng extrajudicial killing. Huwag po nating kalilimutan na napakarami ang namatay sa war on drugs. 30,000 ayon po sa datos. Narinig po natin ang mga pamilya ng mga naging biktima ng war on drugs. Marami sa kanila, ayon kay former President Duterte, ay collateral damages. Shit happens, ayon kay Senator Bato de la Rosa. Ladies and gentlemen, the Quad Committee has started to uncover a grand criminal enterprise, and it would seem that at the center of it is the former President. Napakasakit po nito dahil tayo pong lahat ay nabudol. Mahirap po ang trabaho natin dito sa Quadcom. Walang gustong pumalag sa sistema. Walang gustong bumangga sa isang popular na dating presidente. Pero kami po, tulad niya ay halal ng taong bayan. Kaya ipagpapatuloy po natin ang ating inquiry at sisiguraduhin po naming ayusin ang ating mga batas upang masiguro na hindi na mauulit ang mga kaganapang ating natuklasan. Sa darating na taon at sa mga susunod na Quadcom hearings, tatalakayin po natin ng mas malalim ang usapin ukol sa droga dahil sang-ayon naman po tayo, salot po ito sa lipunan. We will leave no stone unturned. Maraming salamat po at magkita-kita po ulit tayo sa susunod na taon. Maraming po salamat.
Welcome to Team Sam TV, your channel for the latest news updates. Here, we break down the biggest stories from around the globe, covering everything from breaking news to politics. Whether you want to stay informed or just catch up on what's happening, we've got you covered. So, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on the latest news. Join the Team Sam TV family, and let's explore the world together, one update at a time.